Hey y'all, this is Paul in Indianapolis. I'm back with you with another video, and I just really appreciate you taking the time just to watch and take in my collecting journey with sports cards. And today I have another video inspired from my Uncle Ross. I'm kind of doing a series, I guess you could say. And this was a part of his collection that he gave to me that I want to share with y'all today. And this part of it fits in this envelope. And I have not touched this envelope very much in the last 40 years. Its contents, I don't know if they're called cards or collectibles, but I'm calling them cards. They might fall in the collectibles category. Feel free to enlighten or teach me or help me yet. As a kid, I wasn't really excited about receiving this, to be honest, because it's not a traditional, it's not a card. And so, yet over time, I've come to really appreciate this edition and aspect and part of my collection, and the fact that it comes in the 50s, right after World War II, and just my favorite era of collecting. So we'll turn this camera around and look inside the contents here. I'm using one of my kids' sketchbooks here just as a backdrop to help you see the cards better. So in this envelope, I have some 1954 Dixie Cup lids. And this was the last year they were made. They were made 1937 to 39, and then 52 to 54, kind of bookending World War II. And Dixie Cup was the company that made the cups. And these were the tabs on top, so you would have this on top. And they would each advertise, it'd be from a local, I'll put this down so you can see, from a local dairy. So this one is Abbott's Ice Cream on South Catherine Street in Baltimore. So these are from Baltimore. And I've seen others from other parts of the country. Blue Jacket 66, I saw he did a video on a Bob Feller that he got. And his was from Pennsylvania. And to me, I didn't know that. And I thought that was kind of cool that the regional or local dairies would advertise themselves in the context of these Dixie cups. And so these are called Dixie Cup lids. And you can see that here's the ice cream, the dairy company, ice cream company. And these could also be used in 3D Star Viewer. You could kind of put it in and see these cards in a 3D form, which I'm sure at that time in 1954 was pretty cool. Some of these have gotten stained and have paperwork. So they don't fit in a top loader. And I'll probably never grade these, but I'm going to find something to put them in, but I just really like having them out, and I think they're just super cool. So I have about 10 to 12 of these, and so this is Gene Woodling. There's 18 in the set for this year, and this was one of the most common years of the set. So there's Gene Woodling, and they have a right or a left tab. So like here's Mel Parnell. And this is a left tab and that's a right tab. And you see there's some paperwork missing or some extra stuff stuck to it. I mean, understandable. This thing is over 70 years old. And there's the back there. That's a pretty clear back where you can see. Have Al Red Shane Deese with a little paperwork missing there, a little centering. Enos Slaughter right there. So 2 St. Louis Cardinals there. And then 2 more here. Gus Zernial of the Philadelphia Athletics. And Ted Kluszewski, big clue from Cincinnati, thinking of Rob Cash Cards and Peacemaker as Reds fans. This one I think has a little bit of paper, some work on the back missing. Great card, love it. And so those are those right there. So I'll move these just over for a moment. And then I have some more, and these are probably more of the nicer or bigger names and one lesser name, but I'll talk about him at the end. But this is probably my favorite. Monte Irvin is one of my favorite players, and just his story and history, and I mean his life was impacted by World War II, but just a phenomenal player, just a great gentleman, and man of the game, and won a World Series in 51. So there's Monte Irvin. Minnie Minoso. This is my first and only Minnie Minoso card at this point in my collection, but I love having it. And it's looks pretty good there on the back. All these are from Abbott's in Baltimore. Then there's Ralph Kiner of the Chicago Cubs. Al Rosen of the Cleveland Indians. And then right here is Clint Courtney of the Baltimore Orioles. This is my earliest Baltimore Orioles card, and this is probably actually in a St. Louis Browns jersey. But Clint Courtney, I've never heard of him in my life. But I was just curious because this is just the way I am. Just curious about his story and just who is this guy. And he would basically be considered a no-name by many or just a common. But his story is fascinating. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. He was born in 1926 or 27 in Louisiana and grew up just really poor during the Depression. Ended up moving to Arkansas, and after high school worked in oil fields there with his dad. That's what his dad was doing there work-wise. World War II came, he enlisted, and really was stateside for most of the time and played on service teams baseball-wise. And he started as an outfielder, but he ended up moving to catcher, and yet he was a natural lefty, and he taught himself how to throw right-handed. And to me, that's just fascinating and cool, and I don't know how common that would happen nowadays. But he would throw right, and he became a catcher. He was part of the occupation forces in Korea, Japan, and the Philippines after the war. And when he was just discharged in 1947, the New York Yankees signed him, and he was in their minor leagues for a bit, and his story is just fascinating. I spent about 10 to 15 minutes on Saber and Wikipedia just learning about this guy. But apparently, with no surprise, he and Billy Martin clashed in the minors. And he only played a few games, 1 or 2 games for the Yankees in 1951, but he was traded. And some say it was because Martin didn't like him and Martin wanted him off the team. But he was traded in 1952 to the St. Louis Browns. And during spring training, he was racing a sports rider in a rail yard and tripped and fell and scraped his arms and body on some of the glass and metal there. And he got the nickname Scrap Iron. And before Phil Gardner, he was the original Scrap Iron. There was probably one generations or two before. I mean, pre-World War II generation was kind of Scrap Iron in and of itself, but his nickname was Scrap Iron, and that was given to him by the Browns announcer. But he was just gritty and tough, and the next day after that fall, he played in a spring training exhibition game and got 3 hits off early win. But he played for the St. Louis Browns and just kind of bounced around for 10 years around the league as a starting catcher and then as a backup catcher. But twice in his major league career, he had some fights and fisticuffs with Billy Martin. And to me, I'll let you read more. I'll try to attach the Saber link to him, or you can just look it up yourself. But twice I think he got in fights with Billy Martin, which is just hilarious to me. And one time a umpire dislocated his shoulder during one of those incidents. But apparently he was a really good defensive catcher, and he wore glasses, and he had to, underneath the catcher's mask, he'd had to tape his glasses to his head, and apparently broke dozens of glasses in the process of doing this. But he was a minor league manager starting in the mid-60s and was hoping to become a major league manager. And unfortunately, he died in 1975 of a heart attack and was not able to reach that goal. He made it to the AAA Richmond Braves, hoping to make it to the majors, yet it never happened. But his is a story worth knowing. A story of grit and hard work, being able to teach himself how to throw right-handed and to switch to your weak hand, to me, is just a phenomenal feat. But Clint Courtney for you. My guess is you probably never heard of him. If you have, let me know what you knew about him. Anything new or just anything. But my oldest Baltimore Orioles card here, and thank you for watching me as I just shared part of my collection here of the 1954 lids, and my son with the phone above head doing great work. And hope you have a great day.